12 hours of work every single day.
Show me your base 10 block.
Kind of nostalgic being back here and cutting everything up. This is going to be an interesting week for me, and I'm feeling pretty anxious about what's going to happen. I kind of already knew this, but I didn't know what to do about it. I didn't have much of a schedule for what I was teaching for grammar and ELD. I would kind of go by what I was seeing from the students and what they needed in terms of phonics. Like if they didn't know how to read ing, that's what I would cover the next day. But last week during my induction meeting, I found out that the other first grade teacher has been following Benchmark Advance, which is one of the programs that the school offers. But honestly, like as a first year teacher, I feel like I was kind of thrown into this room with a bunch of resources, and it was basically like, okay, now figure it out. Even though I have a very, very supportive first grade team, everyone does something so different. Not everyone uses the same resources. I've been following what my neighbor teacher has been doing. I don't think that it's been supporting like my newcomers and my English language learners as much as it could be. So the other first grade teacher pretty much sat down with me and showed me all the benchmark resources last week. Over the weekend, I was trying to see where I can push that into my schedule. My days are minute by minute, but I need to build those foundations skills for my newcomers and English learners because they're not going to get any of the standards if they can't even read. I'm coming in early today. It's 7. Contract time starts at 8. I usually get here 7:30. I was trying to get here by 6:30, but that didn't happen. I'm going to make copies, laminate some stuff. Hopefully I can get this done and sorted out in my head because I'm feeling really anxious. Another thing that's stressing me out is that I have an observation that I need to record. I'm not worried about the recording itself. I'm worried about the classroom management. I still haven't gotten the hang of getting all my students to participate in the learning. It's a lot of like, stop, okay, restart, go, stop, restart. And it really sucks for my students that need to be challenged in their learning. I know it's so important to drill into the students of what I'm expecting. Today's going to be a lot of slowing down. Maybe I'm not as firm as I think I am because I feel like I am. I was walking into campus and another teacher saw my teacher card, gave me advice and told me to set boundaries for myself because obviously I've been taking work home and staying really late after school to do work. Sometimes I'll leave at 7 or 8, which is not good for me because I'm here by 7:30. Basically been 12 hours of work every single day. The good thing is it doesn't feel that way because I'm not in my hometown. I literally don't have anything to do besides work. And if I'm not working, then I'll get more stressed and more anxious about not getting anything done and not supporting my students enough, even though I know in the back of my mind that I am doing enough. I brought mini pumpkins because we're going to learn about pumpkins this week. Tomorrow I'm going to bring a big one so that we can cut it up and look at all the parts. I'm just going to decorate my classroom with this. I also went to TJ Maxx this weekend and found these dog toys. But look how cute it is. And then they have a little spider one too. I have a little less than 5 minutes left and I just printed everything, laminated some stuff, cut it up, and now I have to staple some of them together, a lot of them together. I don't know how I'm going to survive today, but I will. I hate not feeling ready for the day because it just throws me off so much. I really need to remember to press the record button when it's ELA time. I have my iPad set up in the back over there. I recorded my observation video on us doing main topic and key details, and I was really drilling into them like, we're going to start over as many times if there's a student that's not reading with us, even though it was very redundant. And I was even like, oh my goodness, there's no way I have to say this again over and over. And I gotta do this now because it's been a month of school. I have about 3 to 4 students out of 21 that don't consistently follow along. I'm not trying to spend the rest of the school year working on behaviors. Even the yard duty assistant who comes in to help with fluency for some of the kids, she was like, I don't know how you're doing this. Even just getting one of my students to open the book by himself is another step. I switched up my small groups. We were working on main topic for my high and mid groups. For my lower groups, we started this thing. I had so much to introduce them to, and I was planning to show 3 of them, but I only got through 1. It's basically matching cards. I made the dots and lines so that they know that P makes one sound, A makes one sound, CK makes a sound together. One of my students who doesn't follow along was actually doing it by himself. I just need them to make sure that they're actually reading it, not just matching. It took a while for me to transition the kids from small group time to writing. We're still working on informative writing. We're writing about fall. Last week we came up with these ideas and then they had to write one all on their own. I colored the topic green because we have this thing called step up to writing where it's go, slow down, stop, and go back. It's like this. Except right now, we're not focusing on stopping. I got this idea from the other first grade teacher, and thank goodness I did, because when I was teaching writing in the beginning, it was not broken down enough for them to completely understand. So many papers everywhere. I feel like I need to spend one of these breaks, like holiday breaks, to really sort everything out. I have a bunch of papers that I put in this drawer to file. I do want a copy of everything just in case like I move schools or I can't keep my job and I'm forced to move schools. For math, I realized that I should have been using problems that they didn't see in their math book to model. That way they don't have my problem on their book and they're not tempted to write it down because they should be looking at the screen. That one was also a push and pull because I really am expecting them to repeat after me, to participate, to follow along. I don't want them to think it's an effective way if they're not participating or if they're looking over here when the words are over here. I had to talk to some students about some issues that happened during recess and lunch recess and in class. Since it's like 90 degrees outside, I decided to do Go Noodle. It's so cute because they have their favorites now. I started this mentor read aloud. The essential question is, why do people get involved in their communities? And then I read this and we talked about main topic key details too. My students also made it to the line of their whole class reward system. For their prize, they got this little sheet that turns rainbow under once you scratch it. I let them vote for what the second big prize will be. So our options were a popsicle party, donut party, pizza party, movie, and popcorn, and lollipop party. Most of them voted for movies and popcorn. Probably try to look for something that's 20 to 30 minutes because by the time they get to that line, it's going to be a lot of hard work. I feel so exhausted today because last night I slept at 2 a.m. I was working on my induction stuff, so I had my recording yesterday. I had to look through it. Then I started reflecting on it. This morning was a lot of having them repeat after me again. The participation in this class is not consistent enough to where it needs to be. I was teaching common and proper nouns, played some videos, had them do it on their whiteboards. I think I'm going to create an Anchor chart for it when I have time. Afterwards, we worked a little bit on key details for the passage that we started yesterday. So many of my kids are not getting it and our assessment is next week. There's pressure because I want to make sure that my students show that they improved from last time. We continued our fall paper. My students were not able to perform on their own. I tried to give them more independence. Last week when we were writing about birds, I scaffolded it a lot more. Like I made them think about it first, partner share, then share with the class for each sentence. This time I did that with one key detail and then the other two they were expected to write on their own. Honestly, the biggest thing I'm looking forward to right now is cutting up the pumpkin. I brought this gigantic pumpkin for later because we're going to learn about pumpkin parts. Here it is. One of my students accidentally ripped my clip chart. I am so tired. Like, I'm just sitting here in silence because I can't process anything right now. And honestly, the only thing that's getting me through the day are the pumpkins and these new shoes that I got. These shoes are from Fitville. I love this one. Like, I was debating between this one and a different kind, but I love how the colors turned out. I just love all the pastels. I'm just hoping that they don't get dirty easily because I'm not the best at keeping my shoes clean. So far, they've been very comfy all day. Let me tell you, way better than my Air Force Ones that I'm always wearing every single day. One of my students just randomly came in during my lunchtime and gave me these 4 pencils and was like, it's for students who need it. Before she left for lunch, she said that tomorrow I'm going to get a prize, which is going to be one of her art pieces. I think she wanted to give me a prize because yesterday I gave them the rainbow sheet. Once you get to know their personalities, kids can be so cute. Science went really well. They really enjoyed being able to touch the parts of the pumpkin. I had those mini pumpkins all around the classroom. I put these on each table and then they were able to touch like the skin, the stem. I cut the big pumpkin up. They were able to grab the seeds, strands, and touch the pulp. This is my mess of a desk, but they got to grab everything out. It's pretty funny because some of them started gagging from the smell. It was very cute seeing them get so excited, but also so disgusted by the pumpkin. It reminded me of like when you're a kid and you get to learn like this It becomes a core memory. But their energy was a lot to handle when it was time to clean up. They were taking way too long to get ready. We were late to dismissal. I have kids who sit around and wait for me to tell them each step for their homework. I should stay and do more work, but I'm just gonna clean up, take a nap, and then do work at home because I have no energy to do anything anymore. I feel like by the time I clean up this classroom from the pumpkin mess, it will be about an hour already. Look what I found this morning. So someone just walked by and dropped something off. I thought maybe I ordered a package that I didn't remember. This is what I found outside of my door. I haven't opened it yet. See. You have been booed. This is honestly perfect because I've been craving a lot of sweets lately. Today ended up being one of the best days that we've had. I taught verbs today and we brainstormed different things that we can do. I gave them run, jump, and then they thought of push up, drive, ride a bike, play piano, sit, eat. What made it so fun for them was that I had them stand up and then we were acting each one out. After teaching them what a verb is and acting it out, we went over past, present, and future. This is the chart that I did with them, and then I gave them post-it notes to try on their own. About 89% of them didn't know what to do. So I showed them under the projector as an example, like play, if it's past tense, it's played, and then future is will play. Wednesdays are our half days, and so my writing block is an hour and 10 minutes. We were writing about school, brainstormed some ideas like what we learn in school, what we see in school. I had them think about their sentence first, share it with a partner, and pulled some sticks to hear some of their ideas, and then I let them write it. So we were able to finish that whole thing. Even my student who's a newcomer and came in not knowing any English, he was so motivated to get work done. Sometimes when he's done with the sentence, he'll be like, Miss Trin, I'm done. I think the biggest reason why this motivation is coming is because I started a token board system with him. I found this somewhere on Google, and then I have another student on a token board too. If you're not familiar with what this is, a student gets 5 tokens and then they get a reward. I also used to be a behavior technician for children with autism. I used to use those all the time, and I forgot how effective it is for children to see that they're working towards something. Eventually, I'm going to fade that away so that they're not reliant on extrinsic motivation. But for now, it's doing a really good job. I have a very long night ahead of me because tomorrow I have one of my induction meetings with my mentor. I have a lot of forms that I need to fill out. This is a 2-year program to clear my credential. I have to do my video observation, which I already did. I need to reflect on it, do a class profile, reflect on that, score myself with how I am with engagement, instruction, and all of that stuff, and then create a goal. I need to get it done by tonight so that my mentor can review it tomorrow. This whole part 1 is due in 9 days, and I just realized that there's even more parts that I haven't looked at. Today is going to be an exciting day because I brought in the pumpkin treats for them. In the morning, our word of the day was describe. So I had them think about how they can describe a pumpkin since we learned about it 2 days ago. I told them if I was from outer space and I didn't know what a pumpkin is, how would you describe what it looks like, feels like, tastes like? So we brainstormed a bunch of ideas, shared it with our partners, shared it with the whole class. For main topic key details, we were reading this passage about cat's whiskers. A lot of my students are starting to get it, but then some of them are still either just copying the title or copying some of the words on the text. During our small groups, I gave 2 different passages for my purple stars and my green stars. They surprisingly struggled more with that than the longer text for the cats, but I think that's more because they were supposed to do it independently this time. For my other small group, we were going over this phonics word builder, so they put in A for each one and then they read it. For writing, the topic for the next 2 days is going to be about bananas. I'm trying to prime them that you can make stuff out of bananas. That way for our assessment, hopefully they'll remember that you can make stuff out of whatever we're going to write about. This work is hard. First grade standards expect so much out of these little kids. Even if they're not fully ready for it yet, you still have to expose them.
49. Lucky Ducky Kaylee, you are number. Draw your base 10 blocks. 25 versus 9. Show me your base 10 blocks for 25 and 9.
For science, we went over the pumpkin life cycle again. They got to draw pumpkin parts while I was cutting up pumpkin pie and the cookies. It was kind of nostalgic being back here and cutting everything up because I remember in elementary school, the teachers would always cut the pizzas in half. I was cutting these cookies into thirds because I have 21 students. I was cutting this small pineapple pie into small slithers too. I bought these little ice cream spoons off off of Amazon because I brought in pumpkin cheesecake ice cream. That one was for sure the class favorite. Very successful day. I felt so bad because one of my kids is allergic to nuts and I'm terrible at reading ingredients. I didn't give him any. I let him take home a piece of the cookie and a pie so that his mom can look over the ingredients. But I felt so bad because he really wanted to try the ice cream. I didn't want to risk him going to the emergency room. After school, I had an induction meeting with my mentor and I realized that I'm not as intentional with everything as I thought I'd be. It's kind of weird because when I talk to other teachers, like they get so deep into what they're talking about because their knowledge is so vast. For me, I'm kind of figuring everything out. I don't have the best teaching practices, so it felt a little awkward having to explain my responses for all of the induction questions. It didn't feel like I was being judged at all. I think I was just judging myself more. I even told her that I was nervous for her to watch the video because I'm such a stickler when it comes to teaching sometimes. Today was a pretty easy day because there was a spelling test in the morning, continuing main topic key details. Some of my students are doing a really good job and then others are getting more confused about it. This is what my PPG is on too. I'm trying to get about 80% of my class to master this standard. We had a math test on base 10 blocks and the students' results so mixed. There were some students who really showed me that they got it, but then on the test they didn't. And then some students who were completely lost and did better than I thought they would. At the end of the day, we had art and I bought these little pumpkins for them. Originally, I was going to have them paint it, but then I thought it would take way too long and be way too messy. I had them use Crayola markers. They're pretty cute and I'm just hoping that the marker's dry. Doesn't seem like it's going to dry. It looks like it's kind of soaking in for some of them. They were so excited to do it and even my newcomer was like, look, Miss Trin, so beautiful. I'm going to put those all around the classroom and then let them take it home after fall's over. I really need to do better at setting boundaries for work though because this work is endless. It's 6 p.m. on a Friday night. I don't have my plans for next week yet. The weeks are going by really fast. I feel like the end of the school year is going to be here very soon.